up, tired of going down, tired of myself, tired of this town.
Eminent Waste of Time, episode 52. I'm Doug.
And I'm Chad.
And, okay, that's the show. We're going home.
We're done. Going home.
There. See, that's probably the best episode we've ever done.
Yep. Less talking, the better.
Honestly, that kind of is my mental state right now because it's sunny and 74 degrees and I just want to go outside and play.
Yeah.
But here we are.
We're recording. We're suffering for everyone.
We are slaves to the cause.
And we're making you suffer too.
We're going to make it really hard on you and make this a terrible episode.
Let's not do that on purpose.
It'd just be like all the other terrible episodes we do?
Yeah.
Okay, that's fair enough.
Let it become terrible naturally.
I'm hoping, though, that the weather holds out because this coming weekend is MWXC, and it would be nice to have a 75-degree and sunny weekend for once.
You mean instead of like a dust bowl or a mud fest?
Yeah, 95 degrees and 95% humidity, or 38 degrees and mud everywhere, or something along those lines.
I think it's
too much to hope for. Just one.
I think it's actually going to be decent. They're talking about rain. Well, today's Sunday, so they're talking about rain Monday and Tuesday, I think, and then it's supposed to let up in Wednesday, Thursday, and through next weekend even. It's supposed to be clear.
I can deal with that.
So a little bit of rain to wet it down, and hopefully temperatures won't be high. They're going to be like 70-something all week. So hopefully it just hangs out right there. Won't be bad.
Well, we can hope for once that is the case. But before we get too much further into this, I do want to say thank you to everybody out there who has been sharing the podcast and the YouTube video. Views are up. We're getting a few more comments, that sort of thing. So we really do appreciate it.
Very little hate mail.
None. Shockingly enough.
Yeah. Well, not that many people listening, so.
Well, it is getting better. Like honestly, the numbers are trending the right way. Not where I'd like them yet, but we'll get there.
Yeah.
But I did want to say a big thank you. We've been ranting lately and asking for people to kind of pitch in and help out with that, and that's been a huge blessing. So,
yep.
The studio is also getting done-ish. If you've been following our video updates on that.
Yeah, Instagram and Facebook are the places we post most of those. So if you guys don't follow us there, go check us out. We talk about it on every one, but let's see. Facebook is Eminent Racing, and so is Instagram.
So is Instagram. Yeah. Somebody actually owns Eminent Performance. They have not posted to the account on Facebook since 2014, and they've never posted to Instagram.
And they refuse to surrender it.
Yeah, I actually contacted the guy, and he said, well, I'm not going to give it to you, but if you're willing to buy me out, I'm thinking, buy what? I'm not getting your clientele. I'm not getting your customers. You're not in business anymore.
He just wanted us to pay for it.
Yeah.
No.
I should have offered him $3.
I'll give you $1.50. It's the best offer you've had today.
Exactly. Maybe someday, but I actually looked into, can you wrestle it away from somebody if they're inactive? And the short answer is no. You just didn't get there in time.
Nope.
But he never took eminentperformance.com. Go figure that one out.
He wasn't. Well, if he's not posting on social media, he probably wasn't big enough to care about having a website.
That's true.
So that's my thoughts and feelings anyway.
Anyway, so we're getting close here to MWXC next weekend, and Steve Mueller, our longtime listener / supporter / pro racer. Actually, funny story there. We're going back to PRI this year, and Steve wanted to go, so I registered him as our racer.
He's our driver.
He's our driver. That's his position in the team. I had to, there's a drop-down list. You had to pick what he did. And I'm like, I don't know. He doesn't do any of this crap. Here, driver. That's what he does.
Let's see. Contributor? Nope, not him. Useful hand around the shop? Nope.
No, that's not it either.
Driver, yeah, close enough. That'll describe it.
But he is still in the lead in points.
He is. Well, he is for MWXC. For Midwest Side-by-Side, he is not. He is
Devin Smith.
Second.
That sneaky devil.
Yeah, and Steve was kind of frustrated by it, and I understand his frustration. But so what happened basically is Devin always finished higher in points, although finished a few less races than Steve. Steve is the classic slow and steady, and he always finishes. But because he finished lower in place at each one than Devin, when he has to take a drop, So Steve is throwing away, I believe it's 31 points from one race, and Devin's only throwing away 15 or something, I think, points from one race that he has to drop. So because of his higher finishes, Devin is in first.
He can't drop a race that he didn't run at all, Devin?
I don't think so. I think Devin's ran them all.
Oh, okay. I was thinking he had missed one. It's like, why does he need to drop the 0?
He would. But,
I got you. Okay.
But I think he's done them all, and his drop is going to be a 15, if I remember right. I looked at the
so if you tot that all up, that puts him in the lead.
Yep. So is what it is. And really, the last race, which is, they call Moonlight. Doug asked me if it was like a night race. No,
which I thought was really cool. I got all excited.
No, it's just the off-road park is called Moonlight. So it really doesn't matter. No one can pass Devin or Steve in points, and they can't swap positions. So,
but they both have to be there and run.
Yeah, I mean,
but if they run the race, that's what it is.
Yes.
I mean, they can't take a 0 and not show up.
No. If they both show up
and start, that's it.
Because I don't remember exactly how they assign points in Midwest Side by Side. I haven't been that involved in the points bit, but you get X number of points for showing up, for signing up, for registering and showing up. You get X number for finishing your first lap, and then it's a graduated scale down based on where you place from there.
Which I really like the system because it does reward you from turning laps. I mean, if you it's worth being out there to keep going, I guess is what I'm getting at. Like if you're in 4th place and everyone behind you broke, and you're going to finish in 4th regardless, it's still worth it to stay out there and run the rest of the race and finish in 4th because you're getting points for those laps.
Yeah.
So I do like that, but at the same time, it is also weighted towards finishing higher. So it's not all about just finishing and turning laps. Speed also counts. So it's actually one of the more intelligent ones I've seen.
Yeah. It can be confusing to like figure out mathematically just on the fly, but it is the fairest way to do it I can see. And I've heard people complain and who love the idea of having a drop in a race series. I get it. I really do, because if you're a family guy with your family's going on vacation, I know this happened to Mike Plank, and I think he missed a Midwest Side by Side. I know he missed an MWXC race because of it, but that would take him out of it, basically, if somebody else just ran all of them. So he was able to take his drop, and he's okay then. So I get why they do the drop. None of us are professional racers here. So
I was just looking on the rules and regs. I know somewhere they had posted how they did points, and I was seeing if I could find it real quick, and I can't, so never mind.
So we're not going to do that.
So we're not going to worry about that. But if you go to the Midwest Side by Side Facebook page, you can see all that. It is a different system than like IXCR. You get 500 points for finishing first, and you get 499 points for finishing second. And you get 498 points for finishing third. So,
but if you don't show up, you get 0 points.
You get 0 points. So if you're down potentially 500 points from the guy who finished first because you didn't show up,
all you have to do is show up.
Your season's done. You know what I mean? Like if you miss one race, now they do get a drop as well. But let's say you miss 2 races for some reason, and you're in the points, but you have to miss a second race because family emergency or your machine blows up or something like that.
Yep.
You're done. I mean, you're out of it.
Yeah.
So they do reward consistency of being there, but it's Midwest Side by Side is a little easier to recover from.
Yeah, there's a chance to recover.
Yeah.
It's not 500 points.
Or 0. Yeah.
I think the maximum, I'm wanting to say the maximum you can get for, we'll say, a first place finish in the pro row is 45 points.
Yeah.
And I'm wanting to say, like, you get 25 points just for registering. You get 5 or 10 points, whatever it is, for completing your first lap, and then it's based on where you place after that, as far as, first, second, third, fourth. So,
well, and I should note that we're talking overall. IXCR actually has a different point scale for class that is less punishing, but they really want to make sure if you're going for overall, you're there.
Yeah.
So I get it, but at the same time, there's not a lot of slack or leeway there.
No, there's not.
And Moonlight is the last round for Midwest Side by Side.
Yep.
So that's going to be wrapping up. What is it? The second week of October? Second weekend?
I think so.
So that's going to wrap them up, and then you're going to have a couple rounds of Midwest MWXC and IXCR. Those will wrap up in November, and then the racing season is done.
The racing season is really wrapping up quick.
That went fast.
I mean, it's coming to a close.
That wasn't some really horrible racing pun there.
No.
Well, it was, but I didn't mean it to be.
Yeah, and I've been asking people, what is everyone doing? I mean, we put an Instagram and Facebook post out. You know, what are you doing in the off season? What are you doing next year? Seems like a lot of people are up in the air. What they're going to do?
It does. There's some people that are talking about getting newer or different buggies or along those lines. Some are talking about rebuilding theirs. Devin Smith, if he stays in the same machine, he's putting a new frame.
Yeah, he's flattened everything underneath it from just bottoming out so hard.
So, you know, but he's torn. It's been a great machine for him this year. I mean, he's run the snot out of that thing, and it hasn't let him down.
But when does it start letting you down?
That's just it. The great machine this year could be an absolute disaster next year.
Yeah.
But then the other side of that is, do you want to dump all the money into it getting a new one race ready? Because it's phenomenally expensive. You buy the machine, and then if you've got it set up like Devin does, you basically double the money.
Yeah.
So whatever you bought it for new, double it, and now it's race ready.
Yeah. Now he can take some of his stuff off and move it over.
Yeah, the cage could transfer, and
I don't know that I'd want to transfer the cage. I'd probably let it go with
that's just it. You
could transfer the wheels. He's got custom shocks. I'd transfer those. But you're still going to want to have them rebuilt.
Yeah.
In the off season. I don't think he's running CVT blower or anything like that. He's just got some stuff that needs done. So, yeah, it's a big decision. But aside from just cars, I know a lot of guys are, trying to decide where they want to race next year.
Or in some cases, if they want to at all.
Yeah.
And these are guys that have raced for years. This isn't like we did our first year and we're not happy with it.
Yeah. I don't know. I don't know what's going to happen. Everything is kind of up in the air. With GNCC closing their doors down, that's kind of taken what was previously the giant goal that everyone had to eventually get to. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it kind of did.
For some reason, and it maybe just because it's a national exposure, GNCC was like the end-all, be-all, the ultimate series to go race at some point.
Yeah, and I get the national exposure thing, but that only really matters if you're at the top. If you're a consistent mid-pack finisher, people might know your name, but it's not like it's going to draw in a big-name sponsor at that point.
No. What I mean is I think the little guy always kind of had this goal that I can go out there. That was his shot. Yeah, I can go out there and I can run with, the Kyle Cheneys and the, whoever the big name at the time is in the side-by-sides. I can run with them and I can maybe beat them. It's my chance to show that I can.
It's your shot at Mike Tyson.
Yeah, I mean.
Back before he went insane.
And he bit Holyfield's ear off and he tattooed his face.
Face tattoos. Face tattoos are a surefire sign you have lost it.
Yes. But no, that's what I always thought GNCC always seemed to be for all the side-by-side and even a lot of the quad guys. It's your chance to take on the big names.
It's the big stage, that's for sure.
And it's going away. So I don't know. I'm sure some people let the wind out of their sails, and now they're just, I don't know what to do. I have no giant goal now. Yeah, I can go race my local series.
Well, and that's kind of a segue into something that's been on my mind, and we might have touched on this lightly in another episode, but I'm curious what you think about side-by-side racing, the future of it in the next 5 years, whether cross-country racing is going to continually decline and we're going to end up more in the short course type of venue. The reason I ask that is short course obviously is taking off.
Yeah.
But part of the reason it's taking off is because side-by-sides are tremendously hard on properties.
Yeah.
And so I think we're starting to see property owners now that 5 years ago said, sure, come out and race the buggies and, no sweat, let's go do it.
Yeah.
Now they're looking at what's left of their poor property after the side-by-sides have been running on it, and by and large, the same trails. I mean, you may redo a creek crossing or some stuff like that.
You can't rebuild the whole property.
Yeah, I mean, basically the next year, maybe you run it backwards to liven things up, and maybe you cut one new trail or something like that. But by and large, you're running in those same areas. And so I wonder if landowners are just going to say, you know what, it's not worth the grief. And maybe they take a cue from GNCC and say, look, the liability's too high. But with a short course style, you're in a defined track, a stadium, you have catch nets, you have safety equipment.
K-rails. And
the track is designed a specific way so that A, it's raceable, but B, it's groomable. You can put it back together.
Yeah. Well, I don't know what racing is going to do in general here in the next little bit. I have no thought that it's going away, but it's going to change.
But yeah, I just feel like we're on the cusp of a big change in the next 3 to 5 years.
Well, see, I looked at it this way. I was thinking about this. So you got kids now coming up, Cam Mapes, and there's going to be a younger kid at the MWXC.
Gregory Sparks.
Yeah. You're going to be riding with him, I believe, aren't you?
It looks that way. He was looking for a co-driver, and the guy who normally does it is not able to be with him. And so I said, I will gladly put on a helmet and ride with him if he needs a co-driver.
Okay. But anyway, so you got these young kids who all they really know is side-by-sides, because the quads they're not making sport quads really anymore. And limited.
Yeah, if you look at the sales numbers, they aren't there.
Yeah. And the only other thing is dirt bikes, and some people just don't want a dirt bike. So all these kids know are side-by-sides. What are they going to do? Where are they going to race?
Well, that's kind of the question I'm posing.
Yeah, I get it.
There's some changes that we're privy to that we really can't talk about yet.
Yeah.
I hate to, it seems like every episode we're keeping secrets from you. We just want you to know there's a ton of cool stuff coming up, and we'll keep you at the forefront of all of it as soon as it's ready.
But
so it's not to try and, gain listenership or anything like that.
No.
But one of the things that we're looking at, pardon me, is...
Doug's all choked up over it, though.
I am emotional. Gets me right here.
In the feels.
But we actually are looking at the possibility of working with a series on adding some short course to it. Maybe it's only 4 or 5 rounds.
But now they already do an XC style race.
But we're wondering, is there room for, say, a Friday night short course league or something along those lines? And I think it could be a big draw, and I think it's just going to bring that short course format to more people. And you might get a different crew of racers that say, you know what, I'm not going to take it out in the woods and blow through the trees because I'll literally be trying to go through them.
Yeah.
This is open track. Short course tracks are generally about 4 UTVs wide easily.
Oh, if not more, yeah.
And so there's room to breathe out there. You just have to not hit other cars. But I mean, any racing, that's kind of the point.
Right.
But you may get a different crew of people that says, I'll do that. I won't go bomb around in the trees for 4 miles, but I will run on a short course for 1 mile to 1.5 miles.
Yep. So, yeah, we've been talking to some people about that. We're going to see what we can't make happen. And I'm not going to let the cat too far out of the bag with all of what's going on with that. But
yeah, there's a lot of logistics that will have to happen, and I don't even know that it could in time, but we're working as hard as we can. We're not going to have an off season. The racing may stop, but we are going to be furiously working on things for next year.
Yeah.
So look at us. We've graduated beyond just senseless podcasting into senseless race promotion.
Look, we're doing things, kind of.
Well, we're invested in the sport, and we want to see it grow. And I really think we have to be, as not just Eminent Performance, but just as UTV riders, drivers, whatever you want to call yourself, racers, we need to be in tune with where things are going and make sure we're, making a future for ourselves. Because I think if we continue to do what we've always done, we're going to find ourselves out in the curb.
Well, and it's one of those things that, you guys have all seen that, tread lightly when you're off-roading and stuff like that, and don't destroy the trails, don't leave your trash and everything else.
That is the exact opposite of what we do.
Pretty much. I mean, when UTVs go out the race, we absolutely maul the property. I mean, you all, if you've raced or if you've been out to one of the races, it just destroys it. And short course, like Doug said, is something that can be very easily put back together in real short time. And I mean, if you watch any of the Lucas Oil stuff, they groom the track, the entire track, in between each race.
Yeah, they do.
It doesn't take that long to do it. They just get the earth movers and the dozers out there, run it over it, and they're all set for the next race, and everything's groomed and prepped. Whereas if you tried to do that in the woods in between races, you'd spend a day or two in between trying to get it fixed.
Well, and then they have to go back out and they fix them after the race. So they're spending a day out there with a skid steer trying to put creek crossings back together and knock berms down and fill ruts in and smooth things out so the track has time to heal. And all that costs money. I mean, a skid steer big enough to do that kind of work is not a cheap proposition.
Oh, no.
So I'm not saying XC racing is going to go away. I just don't know that it's going to be the dominant form of racing. And maybe race series kind of adopt we do a few XC races a year and we do some short course, and they only run side-by-sides on properties that can really handle it, because certain cross-country series right now are basically running UTVs on properties that they started out with just bikes and quads, and they're trying to fit UTVs on them, and it's just a poor fit in some cases, and it really makes things difficult, and it's hard on the property, it's hard on the race series, it's hard on the machines.
Yeah.
And it's an expensive hobby. We've talked about that to the point of sickness, but it's hard to get guys excited about going out on a property that really isn't well suited, and the prospect of destroying a $30,000 machine in the process. So,
yeah. I mean, we've talked to guys that there's a certain property coming up that's pretty tight. It's 100 acres or something all said and done, and 20 acres of it's parking, and you're talking to the racers coming up. You ready for this weekend's race? And it's just dread. No, I really don't want to go, but I have to stay in points, because I know this property is just always tight and it's just not fun to run.
And people make jokes about, oh, so-and-so's just afraid of the trees and blah, 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 blah. I'm like, well, no, it's just they have some common sense and they know how much it costs. I mean, everyone's got the bravado and, they want to put on a show that they're not afraid of it, but I've seen the faces of people who, quote unquote, were not afraid of it after they smoke a tree and rip the front half off.
Yeah. They're
not smiling at the end going, oh, well, darn, I guess I'll just throw it back together. They're legitimately upset.
Yeah. It's not a matter of being if someone was afraid of the trees, that's what I always kind of get a kick out of it when people are like, oh, you're afraid of the trees, that's why you don't run cross-country racing. No, if I was afraid of the trees, I'd go like 15 miles an hour out there and everyone can just stack up behind me for all I care.
Yeah.
And then when I get to the open, I'll hammer it and off we go. It's the fact that you're trying to race and the property really can't handle a wide enough track or a big enough area to not have rutted out or tight spaces where machines really don't fit.
And a lot of that is landowners, and I'm not saying this in a derogatory type of way, but the landowners don't want you going out there cutting down 8-inch diameter trees. A lot of them have a standing rule, nothing bigger than
6 inches or
say
something.
6 inches. And so in a heavily wooded area, that really limits you. And it may be, it's 70 inches wide right there, because that is the absolute widest I can make it, and there's no other way around.
Yeah.
And I don't blame the property owners. I wouldn't want somebody out there cutting
my forest.
Yeah, just to make a UTV track. I totally get it. But it's just that this property was originally intended to be quads and bikes, and now we're throwing UTVs on it. So
yeah,
I'm just, I'm curious to see where things go, and we're trying to stay up on those trends, and we're working with some people to try and bring that short course style around to this area and see what it does. I think there would be some interest there.
Yep, I agree. There's a few places, but it takes some dedication on the landowner's side that they're willing to set up the land to be a short course.
Yeah, because there's nothing else you can do with it. Once the XC racers go away and you knock the berms down and everything else, it's just your property again.
And there's trails on it and whatnot.
You really have to set up a short course arena and leave it be. I mean, that is just that however many acres that area occupies is now just that.
Yeah.
And the other thing is, to really make it pay, you need to have stands. You need to have grandstands where, bleachers, whatever, where people can sit in a tiered fashion, because that's where you'll actually get sponsorships when you can, you've got a captive audience, and that's what a sponsor likes to see, like, say, Dryer South Power Sports or somebody like that. They can put up a 4x6 banner alongside all the other sponsor banners, and you're sitting there in the grandstands and you're a captive audience. You're staring at the banner as much as, because the race is going on out there. That's what they want. You can't really get that in XC racing because people wander all around and, they're never in one spot. But in short course, if you're going to make it pay, if you're, to get to just have buggies come in and race really wouldn't cover the bills.
Right.
You need sponsorship. And so there's expense to not just the track, but now you need to have a place for people to sit and actually watch the race.
Well, and let's define what sponsorship really is in most cases. I'm not saying all, but in most cases, sponsorship is advertisement.
Exactly.
It's not.
I'm giving you money, and you're getting
or parts or whatever they're giving you,
and you are getting people to look at my name and be interested and know that I'm there. And you're, in some cases too, you're recommending, saying, hey, if you're going to go buy this machine, this guy's local and he's a sponsor, go buy it from him.
Right. Or this guy makes the best whatever part. I mean,
exhaust bearings.
Yeah. You're advertising for them. And if you're the racer, you're advertising, you yourself are the spokesman for them. If you're a series, your banner is the spokesman for them. So you want as many eyes on that as you can, so that you can say we had, 30,000 people through our gates last year or whatever, and they all saw your banner and they all saw your name, and this is what we did to advertise and promote for you and everything else. So,
and I think short course is interesting because, like I said, it's a captive audience and it gives you that. So I'm curious to see if and how that changes the sponsor game. We could go on for shows talking about all the tentacles of this. I guess I'm just really geeked out and excited about, I think there's a good future for the sport. I think we just need to be flexible and understand that this is not going to be the same sport as it was 5 years ago when everybody was out just racing 800s.
Tell you what, since we're talking about this, if you guys are listening and some form of short course racing, I mean, I'm not saying it's the Lucas Oil level stuff, but some form of short course, not necessarily in the woods, would it be something that you would be interested in doing? And
even if it was some sort of maybe a hybrid, for instance, there was a short wooded section, but it was, say, 2 to 3 cars wide, even through the woods. And then, you kind of get that anticipation of they disappear. And then when they come back out, who's in the lead?
Right.
But not miles. I mean, maybe a half mile to 3/4 of a mile in the woods. And then they do a short course open section.
Yeah.
Something like that even.
So post on our Facebook page, send us a message on the YouTube comments
on the YouTubes.
On the YouTube comments. Let us know if it's something that you guys would be interested in doing. We're kind of trying to gauge this and see. And also let us know if you are or are not interested in XC racing. I'm just curious to see what yes, I'm interested in short course. No, I have no desire to do cross-country racing or.
Yeah, I really am interested to know the mix that, hey, if you went short course racing, I'd be there. Or if I hate that stuff, I only want to XC race. I'm definitely curious to know what you guys think about all that.
Yep. That was just something I wanted to throw in there while we were...
No, I'm glad you did. Speaking of racing, you are going to do the last GNCC opportunity ever.
I am, with Steve Mueller. And no, he's not driving, and no, I'm not riding. Roles are reversed.
Now, I feel stupid not knowing this because we talk every day, but who's Buggy? Are you using his?
No,
it's all right. You can't. It's a turbo.
I can't use Steve's, and I can't use mine.
That's right. In the GNCC Ironman, turbos are invitation only. They want to know that you know how to drive it, and you're not just showing up with this beast of a machine and are clueless.
Yeah.
So are you in the pink Buggy?
I am in the pink Buggy.
You got to keep the ball joints on it this time?
Well, it wasn't my fault last time.
You always say that, but you're always the one behind the wheel.
I didn't even hit anything, and the ball joint spit out the end of the A-arm. Like the A-arm literally broke. I don't know how that happens when you don't hit anything.
Mike Plank, I haven't heard from you personally. All I've heard is Chad's side. So
I need backed up on this one, Cody and Mike.
But to say you are racing, though.
I am racing, yes. I was going to go to just GNCC and just kind of do media coverage part of it. And I told Cody, I said, you need to go. And I said, you're the only one with a race machine that's naturally aspirated. You should take it and you should run. I said, if you want me to co-drive, I'll be happy to co-drive with you. And he was like, yep, let's make that happen. And then next time I talked to him, he was like, no, I can't do it. He has something, I think it's a wedding going on then, that he can't miss. And so he says...
Is he an ordained minister like Barry?
No, I don't think so.
Okay.
So he said, you take it. Or he said to Steve and I, he goes, you guys take it, and you guys can fight over who's driving. And Steve goes, I don't care. I was like, good, because I was going to drive anyway. So Steve's co-driving, and I'm driving, taking the pink buggy. I'm going to go pick it up from Cody a week before GNCC over in Illinois and bring it back here so I can put some seat time in around my property, get as used to as I can in a week.
So I'm going to throw this out there. If anybody listening that's in the area is interested in helping out Eminent Performance, we will pay you exactly what we get paid. We will split all profits with you.
Okay.
So you get nothing. You will be negative at the end of the weekend, actually.
Probably.
But if you have any kind of knack for photography or video or just a desire to help out, if you want to go with Chad over to GNCC and A, see him race, and B, try and do some coverage while he's racing, get some photos, get that kind of stuff,
yeah,
the more the merrier. Because I'm sure we're going to have some people that are already going with you that'll do that stuff.
Yep.
But the more vantage point, the more stuff we can get, I think the better.
Yeah.
So it might be a fun weekend if you're at all interested or have any questions about it or have never been to an Ironman event.
Or just want to hang out. You know,
Let us know.
Steve will be there. I think Jason Bannon's going to run the RS1 that he just got in
Ooh.
it. And he's going to run Kunkel's naturally aspirated 1000.
Nice.
So I think I'm going to run the sportsman class. I believe that's the class it is. It's basically like no frills, you know.
Yeah.
It's the stock-ish machines. That's what I'm going to run. I could run the, XC3, but I really have no desire to take that step up with the guys who have been running GNCC all year. I'm not there to prove anything. I just want to run the last one.
I just want you to finish.
I do too. I want me to finish.
I don't care where. I just want you to finish.
I say that too, but I know me.
I know how you are when somebody in front of you is going faster.
It's a race. Go as fast as you can. That's what my brain keeps yelling.
You're not incapable of keeping up with the pack and doing well there. And again, I want to see what you can do in a solid machine that will hold up. Because
that's what was frustrating about this last one at the Midwest side-by-side race when I ran the pink buggy. I didn't hit anything.
Well, we'll chalk that up to bad luck. But our racing experience last year was I'm sorry, the CF Motos are great machines. If you just want to go trail riding, if you want to go mud riding, there's some 6-inch lifts that are on the market now. Joey Fabinski is making a really nice lift. You can go mud running in them. You can do that kind of stuff. But they're not really good race machines because the front end design just doesn't hold up well to the abuse of racing.
No.
You're going to be in a machine that now all the mud will be off it. I know Cody. He's going to go over every bolt. He's going to check everything. That thing will be race prepped and ready to go. I'm curious to see how you can do in a machine that is actually built to hold up to this kind of abuse.
Yeah. I'm curious to see how it's going to be also. Because Cody, the funny thing is, right before I raced it last race, we were getting the seats adjusted and everything, and Cody says, I made all 4 corners bulletproof or whatever he said. He goes, I wanted to make it so you couldn't knock the wheels off of this thing. And lo and behold,
challenge accepted.
Look what I does. So it was just a freak thing. It was nothing that, no parts were, it was a bad part, but it's not like, oh, I hit something or it just parts are going to fail. It's a mechanical thing. They will fail. That's how it is.
Yeah.
And they've got a whole season on a lot of those parts or more. So it's, they've taken their toll. So it's just time to go over it before the last stretch of the season and get it checked out, make sure everything's good, send it out there. And I would really like to, honestly, for me, I don't care that much. I'd like to see how I stack up against some of the guys just because. But I really want to put Cody's buggy out there because it stands out. It's a black and bright pink buggy.
It definitely is October breast cancer awareness.
Yep, and that's the one that everyone decorates in pink. That machine is already ready.
Already done. Yes.
So I just really want to put Cody's buggy in the limelight is really what I'm looking to do.
And if it wasn't for me heading down south with the Southern Mud Riders to do that ride down there, that benefit for St. Jude that we've been talking about, I would have kicked Steve clean out of the passenger seat because I don't care what he says. I would have been your co-driver.
I'd let you guys fight it out, and I'd be perfectly fine.
Yeah, I might look skinny, but I'm scrappy. All it takes is one good hit to the throat. I don't care how big you are.
I will throat punch you.
But yeah, that's I'm kind of jealous because I do want to. It's the last one.
It is. It's gonna be great because I suspect the crowd will be record turnout.
Oh
Just
yeah, you're going to be
record
wading
turnout.
through people there for sure.
I would suspect there will be many people like me who want to run the last one just to run the last one. So I think the side-by-side crowd will be big. But just the crowd in general, it's always big at Ironman. It always is. So yeah, it's going to be neat to see that, but it's going to kind of be bittersweet because it's the last one.
It's the end of an era for sure.
Yeah, I mean, no matter how good if let's say I win it all, I'm first in class or whatever, it's still the last one. It may be awesome, but
Dude, how cool would it be if you got a plaque from the last one though?
First.
Retire. Like there's no
You're done.
We're done. That's it.
Walk off.
Well,
So speaking of your ride, you're going down. Any new developments?
Nope, still going down. I've got one person I want to ask if they are interested in going down. I'm going to probably take care of that today. If they are not available, we'll see. Maybe I'll open that up too to anybody dumb enough to
go ride along with you.
12 hours of driving down to Louisiana to get muddy and then come back.
Yep. Yeah, I'm not saying what we do is horrible, but these weekends where, you all get to sit around or, you go trail ride with some friends, we'll go drive 12, 20 hours, and then all of a sudden it's like I'm beat on a Monday morning dragging myself into work.
Oh, yeah. Well, the thing I'm doing is 12 hours down on Thursday, Friday, kind of get the lay of the land and the Friday night ride, grab a few hours of sleep, all day Saturday, grab a few hours of sleep, Sunday, 12 hours back.
Yeah.
Monday, work. I might take that Monday off, but the problem is I'm starting a new job.
Yeah.
And I'm going to burn the only vacation time I have because I accrue it as I go on the Thursday and Friday. So I'm probably just going to be going into work a little late that morning, would be my guess.
That's how it is.
We love the heck out of it, though. We love UTVs, the sports. We love the people we meet. And I'm having a ball doing this. This is honestly the hardest free job I've ever done in my life, but it's a blast.
Yeah. So
I am not complaining one tiny bit. We've honestly, just the people we've met has made this all worth it.
Oh yeah. You get to meet all kinds of great people.
And some not so great, but you can ignore them.
I don't remember them. Maybe I'm them.
Anyways, there's other news we need to get to. So Yamaha has not disappointed. They've come out with the 2019 YXZ 1000R. They haven't pronounced it that way, but I am calling it the Pirate YXZ from here on out.
You have to black out one of the headlights.
Yeah. Oh, that's happening now. Put like a vinyl stripe, like it's the patch stripes going back. That might have to happen. So there are some differences. They've lowered the gearing for first gear. It's basically, they keep messing. They originally did the tag, the torque-assisted gearing, which changed all of them. And then they had another version of tag, which changed it differently. And this is just the latest evolution of them playing with the gearing.
Yeah.
And the reason they're doing that in part is because they're going to a taller tire. They're going from a 27-inch tire
to a 29.
To a 29, and it's an 8-ply Maxxis, so it's a heavy carcass.
Well, but they're doing that because all their competition, the Razors and
they're rolling 29s.
Yeah, everybody's coming out with 29s, and 27s are okay if you're in the yard or if you're doing short course or something like that. In the woods or where the ruts get deep or where the mud's deep or something, you need the 29s, and it's got the power to turn them. So,
well, and I think too, the really technical stuff, in a Razor, you just back off the gas, everything's automatic. A lot of people are not buying the Sport Shift one. They're still buying the fully clutched sequential gearbox. So when you're in the tight technical stuff, I can see why when you have an actual clutch, it would be nice to have that lower first gear.
Yeah.
You're also getting the GYTR connecting rods. So if you are planning on putting a turbo on it, the motor is basically built from the factory, just bolted on.
Yeah, I think they call it turbo ready is the phrase that they used.
Yeah, but the turbo kit used to come with connecting rods. You were doing a partial rebuild. Now you don't have to. And honestly, to me, that's a huge plus.
Yeah, because now you can bump that thing up. I think with the turbo, it puts them up around 150 horse or something like that.
Yeah.
Maybe a little
more. And you
more.
can get more than that too, but that's kind of their kit, yes.
Yeah.
And then you've also got...
they went the opposite direction I would have gone with the cage. They made it taller.
Yes. Yes, they did. Well, what they were going for, though, is one of the things you complained about, both the YXZ and the X3, hard to get in and out of.
Yeah.
They made it taller so that you can get in and out of it. And actually, I agree with that call. The person who doesn't race and isn't going to replace the cage will appreciate the easier to get in and out. The people who are racing are going with a custom cage anyway, so they don't care what the factory one looks like.
Yeah, they're cutting it out anyway.
So that part makes sense.
I get it. It just seems odd.
The other thing I really like is they're doing the radiator relocate from the factory. It's a bigger radiator. It's rear mounted. It's out of the way, out of the mud, out of the sand.
Now you lose that little bit of bed that you did have now, but it was a little bit of bed anyway.
The 1 cubic foot bed is now half of a cubic foot.
Yeah, they took up better than half of it. So the cooler is going to be hanging out the back for those of you guys that buy them.
So there's some really nice stuff that they've done. They've done some body work that I actually do think it looks a little better. I like the lines, except for the cage, but everything else I do. I think the body work actually hides the cage design some, the way they've done it.
It does. It does.
And you also get, there's additional suspension settings now you didn't have before. They've upped the brake size.
Yep.
Bigger calipers, bigger rotors.
They did some revalving internally in the shocks and resprung and all kinds of stuff like that. They actually made it a softer ride a little bit. And
we've talked about the Magellan, what they call it, the Adventure Pro GPS.
Yeah, that tablet that they run.
We've talked about that in the...
when they released the Wolverine X2.
The Wolverine. And they've now pre-wired this for it as well.
Yeah. So, that displays all your cooling temperatures, your navigation, everything. I mean, it's basically the ride command for Yamaha is what it is.
Yeah.
But it's...
I love the fact that you can just take it with you, though. Just at the
I
end
do
of the
like
ride,
that
you can just
take it out.
unplug and take the whole thing, which is sweet.
That is nice.
Especially if maybe you actually own a YXZ and let's say you own a Wolverine as well. You've got one set up for trail riding and one's your sport, buggy for dunes or racing or whatever.
Yep.
You can just transfer it between the two, which I think is kind of a neat setup.
Yep.
So there's actually a fair amount of changes for 2019 if you're getting the 1000R.
I'm not saying it's a completely new machine. They didn't either. But they are definite good improvements that I think they're taking good steps to making it a better machine.
Absolutely. And the other thing that Yamaha has just announced that I thought was really interesting is they are doing a 10-year CVT belt warranty on all 2019 ATVs and UTVs. Now, obviously,
not the YXZ.
Let me finish. That use a belt, because obviously the YXZ does not. But that does leave the Wolverine and the Viking.
Yep.
And then the Grizzly and the Kodiak ATVs use a belt as well. 10-year warranty. Now, they're saying that the Ultramatic transmission they have is the best, most reliable, smoothest, doesn't chew on belts, yada, yada, yada. So they're backing it up.
Now, I'm sure there are all kinds of, caveats of you can't up the horsepower, you can't change out your clutches and all that, understandably so.
Still, I think that's pretty bold.
I honestly think it's a great marketing strategy. Here's my opinion. So you leave it alone. You leave the machine alone. You don't modify horsepower. You don't mess with your clutches because you're wanting to keep your 10-year belt warranty.
Yeah.
They build that machine. Yamahas are reliable as the day is long.
Absolutely.
So if you leave it alone, it's going to stay reliable. You now are the person who has that machine that you've been going for 10 years, and I haven't even had to replace a belt, and it's been great. And on top of that, if they do have to replace a belt, what does a belt cost Yamaha? I mean,
Yeah, it's not the 150 it cost you and me.
$20. I don't know. I'm just making up the $20 number, but it costs them $20 and
That's cheap marketing is what it is.
and then somebody just says, "Man, I had a belt problem." They just replaced my belt, didn't even ask any questions.
And now, yeah, exactly. The word of mouth is, look how awesome this is. And that was the cheapest word of mouth advertising you can possibly buy.
It's actually really smart. I don't see it as a bad thing. I see it as a great thing overall.
I'm just waiting for Polaris to come out with an 11-year warranty because it's one better.
I don't think they will.
No, probably not. But they were the company that could really get away with that too.
Well, because they don't have high horsepower side-by-sides.
Exactly. The only pure sport side-by-side they make is a fully mesh transmission. There's no CVT. So you don't even have to put the fine print that says except the YXZ.
Right.
You're just, no, these machines, go for it.
Yeah.
Knock yourself out.
Because the Wolverines, while they're peppy, they are not powerhouses. Same with the Vikings.
And I mean, to be honest, we deal with people that tend to use their machines a lot, but I'm willing to bet that the average person doesn't use their machine near as much as the group we run with.
Probably not. Yeah.
I mean, look at your dad's. He tools around the property. That thing will easily...
He uses it every day, but...
He puts a bag of trash in the back and takes it to the dumpster. Or he
goes and gets firewood and throws it in the wood furnace, and yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it's 20 mile an hour just cruising around the property riding. That thing probably will last 10 years.
Oh, yeah, that belt, yeah, it'll probably last that long. Because he's not beating it hard. I mean, he doesn't really wear out a set of tires. They just kind of like go away.
They dry rot and eventually you just crumble like a dandelion.
Unlike my tires.
Someday he'll just go out there and blow on them.
Yeah.
And the tires will just drift away.
Time for new ones. Oh, yep.
Well, the only other thing I wanted to get to today because it is trivia time, believe it or not.
Oh, yes.
Is we were remiss in recognizing Michael Plank.
Oh, yes.
He won last time. We talked about him in passing as it related to other things, but we really do want to highlight local drivers, and we do want to throw out the fact that last week at the Midwest Side-by-Side, Michael Plank takes the top spot in the lights, 800s and 900s.
I think we kind of talked around it, but we didn't actually say that he was first.
And say that he was first. But he is he's got some sponsorships now, and he's working on some others, and we want to make sure that everybody who deserves credit gets it, basically. Because we do appreciate how much work it takes to race, how much money it takes.
Even the quote-unquote little guys, they put in as much work as the big people.
Oh, yeah, exactly. And
they do it after putting in 40 hours of work that week.
I realized after listening to last week's episode how many things I wanted to touch on and bring out specifically, and I just didn't. Like Brianna, we talked about the fact she hit a tree. We missed the fact that she screamed out of the gate and got the whole shot. I mean, she was out. Well, the way she left the line, I was thinking she's first. Like my first thought was she'll be first.
I wasn't really looking at that start, and I was like, she jumped, but she didn't jump.
She's just fast.
Yeah.
And so my thought was if she keeps it together, she will be first in the heavies.
Yeah.
And then, unfortunate meeting with the tree. And it was really a distraction type of thing. She was trying to pay attention to something else that had happened.
Yeah.
And, it happens. But
well, maybe that'll come with a little bit more side-by-side racing experience to learn to let your co-driver focus on all the other things, and the driver just does the driving.
Yeah.
And it's really hard to get used to. The short rabbit trail on this, but as a driver, it is really hard to get used to racing that I'm not looking at my instrument cluster to see what temperature I'm at and everything else, because when you're trail riding, that's what you're doing. But when I'm racing, no, my only focus should be turning the wheel and keeping it on the track.
You need blinders like they put on horses that just you can see forward.
That's what the co-driver is there for. Let them do their job, and it lets you do your job. But it just takes a lot of practice to...
You're going to break the car, Chad. You will break it, and we will not finish the race.
Yeah, whatever.
All right, trivialize me.
You ready for your trivias?
Yes, I am.
I got to pull it up. There it is. Ha, ha, ha. Okay. Are you ready for your trivia, sir?
Still am.
Okay. Question number 1. How many nuclear subs are sunk and still on the bottom of the Atlantic Ocean?
I don't know. I'll say 3.
You're close. 4.
4? Okay. I knew of a few of them off the top of my head.
Yeah.
But that's just the Atlantic?
That's just the Atlantic.
Okay, because I know there's some other ones. There's one in the Black Sea. I think it's called the Kursk.
Yeah.
It actually sank in less water than it is tall. So, like, if it landed on its nose, it'd be sticking out of the water 50 feet.
All right. Question number 2. In the 1500s, wealthy Europeans would eat what, believing it was healthy? It was health crazes. It was kale a few years ago.
Okay, give me a hint. Is it animal or vegetable?
It is a meat.
Okay. I don't know, like pure lard?
Human corpses.
What?
Yes. They were cannibals because they believed that was healthy.
That can't be right.
Oh, yeah.
I don't believe that.
I don't care what you believe.
Your trivia has been very suspect before, and I'm looking that one up, and we will report in episode 53.
Go right ahead. All right. Question number 3. How many people approximately die per year by choking on a ballpoint pen?
I'm sure Bic loves this one.
Yeah. Sorry, no big sponsorship for us.
Darn it. 12. It can't be much.
100.
No.
Yeah.
Wow. Did you know that's why pen caps all have a hole of some sort?
Yes. Because
Like
they didn't
either it's a
used
hole
to.
or it's the little 3, around
the-
it. Yeah, so if you swallow it, you have a way to breathe.
Enough air until you can get it out. Yeah. Nice.
100 people?
100 people.
It's
Not surprising.
no. It's population control. These people are no longer in the gene pool.
Those are the people that kind of, if you're choking on a pen, you better on.
Maybe so.
Go towards the light, little buddy. Go towards the light. Okay. Pope Gregory the Ninth declared that what animal was associated with devil worship and had a mass extermination of them?
When was this?
I don't
say
remember.
when? Oh,
It's
okay.
Pope Gregory the Ninth. I don't
Okay.
know when he.
This
was the Pope.
was a minute ago.
Yeah. it
What
was
animals
long.
associated with? I'm gonna go cats.
You are correct. It is a cat.
Nice. He was absolutely right, and we should continue that trend today.
Kill all the kitties.
I'm not a cat person. I had one growing up. And he would have been killed in that massacre because he was jet black, nose to tail, and had yellow eyes.
Devil cat.
Yes, he was the devil cat. He was actually really sweet, but then I found out I am wicked allergic to cats. And he slept on my bed. So that was a
Your
good
mom
combo.
kept putting him in your room at night.
Exactly.
Here you go, Doug. Let the kitty sleep
Wake
with
up
you.
at 2 in the morning like,
Oh, he's purring like the cat.
maybe that's why I'm so brain damaged and couldn't breathe.
Drain bramage?
Exactly.
All right. How much money, or question number 5, sorry. How much money did the FBI spend to apprehend John Dillinger? You know, the criminal?
Yeah.
Okay.
$1.2 million.
You weren't too awfully far off. Over $2 million, though. Dillinger only stole $500,000. They would have been better off to just let him go.
Were you around me when who was it told us the whole monopoly thing was a scam? Were you around with that? The McDonald's monopoly. Okay, so they found out that nobody actually ever won the $1 million prize because the guy who was responsible for going and getting the printed out the little tabs you had to get was taking the ones for the grand prize.
Nice.
Now, he himself skimmed about $200,000 worth of stuff, but he wasn't keeping the big prize. Like, he donated one to, like, he arranged it for some charity to win one, and he just wanted to manipulate it because he could, not necessarily to get rich. So here's the tie-in. The FBI was spending crazy amounts of resources to catch this guy. Like, way more than what he was stealing or misdirecting or however you want to look at that.
Right.
It's part of why 9/11 happened because the FBI was so tied up with the monopoly man, they missed signs that there was an impending terrorist attack.
Oh, you sound like a conspiracy theorist. 9/11 happened because of McDonald's Monopoly game.
That actually sounds more plausible than the whole, jet fuel can't melt steel beams and stuff.
I'm not getting into that.
But no, they had devoted so many resources. Now, you can't say for sure, but if you look at how many people were dedicated to that case, you're like, well, yeah, they were suffering in other areas.
Did you know that the FBI did not go digital until 2012? And up until that point, every record was kept on paper and not on a computer.
Can't hack paper.
Yep. I found that interesting.
Look at us.
This is the extra stuff I learned.
Extra trivia.
Extra trivias.
Now, I can't vouch for all that, but this is what I'd heard from a source who said that they had actually looked into this. It wasn't just a passing thing. I'll leave them nameless in case they're horribly wrong.
Ready to go on?
Sure, why not?
End of our FBI trivia bits?
Yes.
Okay. And now we're on their watch list.
Dude, we've been there for years.
Yeah, we're higher up. We've made it higher up.
We're number 11. We're trying to crack the top 10.
Yay. Question number 6. What is the red dye made of that makes red Skittles red?
I don't know. Trying to think of what would be red that would make a dye. I don't know. Some sort of like mollusk or undersea creature that they crush up.
Nope. They boil beetles.
Okay, it was same type of thing though.
You were in the same vein.
Yeah. Beetles.
The same
Like Japanese beetles?
I don't know. There was a name of it. But
man, I could give them a bunch of those.
It was some beetle I'd never heard of. But they use it in lipstick and other things also. They boil beetles and the color comes from the beetles.
Huh. Well, red paint is the most expensive paint because it's hard to get the dye, and now I know why.
Beetles. Many beetles.
Huh. Go figure.
Okay. Question number 7. Most wasabi, Japanese, Chinese...
Hot
Japanese,
stuff.
Yes. Eaten in the U.S. is not real. What is it made of? The fake stuff. What is it actually made of?
I don't know. Jalapenos or something tame like that?
Horseradish.
It's just horseradish?
Yep.
Like dyed green or something?
Yep. Pretty much it.
Well, that's bitterly disappointing.
Isn't it, though? I've known that one for years, though.
It makes sense. I mean, I don't really like wasabi, but I've smelled it and I was like, that smells like horseradish. I just assumed they were similar, not we've been lied to.
No, wasabi is actually very expensive. And I think, if I remember right, it has a very short shelf life when it's made. So, and it only grows in certain temperament compliance. Environments.
Climates? Is that what you're looking for?
That's what I was going for. Words is hard today. Yeah, but so for it to be sent over here, only very few restaurants do it because of the price and everything. It's just not feasible.
That seems fair.
All right, you ready for question number 8?
Do it.
The candy Pez, a little flip-up thing.
Yes, indeed.
Okay. Was first sold in which country?
So not the United States, I'm assuming.
You can assume whatever you would like, sir.
I'm going to assume it's not. Pez. Germany?
Austria. Not far off.
What's funny is I was going to say Australia. I'm like, no, it wouldn't have been there. They probably still don't have Pez down there.
Austria.
Close. On the border. But as Austrians will remind you, they are not German.
No, don't tell them they are.
Yeah.
They'll go all German on you then.
That's always a big stink with Arnold Schwarzenegger because he is Austrian. He is not German.
Yes. In the TV show The Simpsons, because we have to have a Simpsons one every so often.
Of course. Every so often being every episode.
Almost. What brand of beer do Shelbyville residents drink?
Duff.
No, sir. They live in Springfield when they drink Duff. In Shelbyville, they drink Fudd.
Oh. Duff's. Oh, yeah, whatever.
Steve is laughing right now.
I've never. When did they just like vacation in Shelbyville? I don't even know what that is.
It's their neighboring town that basically is like the clone copy of them.
But
it's like everything's kind of slightly different.
Yeah, it's bizarro. It's like
it's bizarro world.
Yeah.
To them. So that's why they drink Fudd, which is Duff. Yeah,
it'd be Fudd because Duff has 2 F's.
Yeah, well, whatever. It's Fudd.
Oh, so whatever.
Okay, question number 10, last one.
Thank goodness.
What degree did Brett Favre earn from the University of Southern Mississippi?
Oh, he graduated?
They'll let about anybody.
Underwater basket weaving.
Is that your guess?
No. Man, I really don't know. Degree in biology?
Teaching. He is a teacher.
I'm not going to get myself in trouble with that. Okay. He's a teacher. Good enough.
He's a teacher. I surrender. What are you looking up now?
I was trying to see if we had anything on the list of stupid things with, on the list it is specifically worded stupid things Chad has done / seen. The list is empty, my friend.
We have not refilled the list.
We have not refilled the list.
Things. I never remember them off the top of my head.
I never remember them either because it's just par for the course. I don't think of them as stupid. I just think of them as you.
Chad's been alive. Look at what he's done.
It's a thing. This is just another day in the life.
We'll talk to the wife. She'll repopulate the list.
We will repopulate the list. We will be back and better than ever and reloaded for episode 53. And I guarantee you Brandy probably has
the funny thing is
an 8.5 by 11 sheet of paper filled.
Front and back. The funny thing is, so Brad Mapes comes up to me at the last Midwest side-by-side race, and he goes, so did you really burn yourself? Dude, I just roll up my sleeve, and there's the 3 burn marks that I showed him. And he goes, wow. I said, yeah, none of these stories are made up. I said,
wow.
They're all legitimately true. I don't make these up. It's just how it is.
This is my life now. Well, we were talking at lunch today. We've mentioned our mutual friend Kevin Stump before, and growing up, basically, he was always on the extreme cautious. I'm not doing that. That's stupid. I
could get hurt.
Yeah, he was always extremely on that side, and you were extremely on the other side of what's the worst that could happen, and death was really not that bad of an option.
I could die, but then I don't have to go to school tomorrow.
And I was always somewhere kind of in the middle. Like I was up for most things, but I kind of back off the edge a little bit. The sad thing is I've drifted your way.
What's the worst that happens? If I die, I don't have to go to work Monday.
Well, I'm 38 years old, so if I live to be 76, I am technically middle-aged right now, so what the heck?
Yeah.
It's been fun so far.
It's gotten me this far. I'm willing to keep riding the bus, see what happens.
Well, time to say thank you to our sponsors, of course, Watch Communications, who host the podcast and our website. The code is still valid, Waste of Time, all lowercase, no spaces, for 10% off your first month of hosting for your favorite cat webpage or a church function webpage or whatever you need hosted. They can hook you up with that.
FBI surveillance webpage.
Ooh, I want to see if FBIsurveillance.com is registered. Maybe I'll do that. Anyways,
I just had mental pictures of what I would design that webpage. A little black van that's just circling, like driving across
pair of
the
shifty
screen.
eyes at the top, like looking at you. If you could time to somebody's webcam where they move their head and the eyes follow them. Anyways, also want to say a big thank you to TGM Off-Road, UTV-Doors.com, UTV Engineering, Spangs Fab, CW Motorsports, and Harrison Power Sports.
Yep.
We appreciate all of you guys. You've just been a huge, huge help to whatever this thing is that we're doing. Also, we want to throw out a special thanks to everybody who has so generously donated to the studio.
Yep.
And I do mean generously. Barry Miller, Steve Mueller, who else? Cody Willenborg, he's kicked in.
Ryan
Kunkel has kicked in as well.
Jason Bannon, the Mapes crew.
The Mapes crew. If we're forgetting anybody, we apologize, but we cannot tell you enough how much we appreciate that. Honestly, I was really humbled.
Oh, one of the guys on Barry's racing team. His name escapes me.
Sorry. Yeah, we'll get you in 53. We'll put you at the very beginning.
Can't remember names.
But I wanted to make a point to thank you, all of you guys. I was really humbled when things started rolling in, and
Devin did.
Completely unsolicited. Devin Smith did, and it just.
I think Devin did.
We've even had offers of help.
Plank
like
did.
we'll come
Maybe
over and
Plank did. I don't know.
Hang drywall.
People have. I don't know.
I mean, people have offered to come help, and yeah, thank you so very much. I really makes me feel like we were doing something useful.
Look, we're not just a burden on society.
Not just a burden. There's so much more. We're not saying we're not a burden. We're just
maybe these guys are just helping give us enough rope so we hang ourselves.
Maybe they just want us to have a dedicated room that they can lock the door as soon as we finish it, and they don't have to deal with us anymore.
Look, we got you guys wallpaper as a housewarming gift. It's all padding. Yeah, it's wallpaper.
Click. That seems about right. Well, you can find us on the web at our website, eminentperformance.com, on Facebook /Eminent Racing, on Instagram at Eminent Racing, and you can find the podcast on our YouTube channel. Just look for Eminent Performance. And you can find us on iTunes, Google Play, Stitcher, and iHeartRadio.
Mm-hmm. That's it.
That's it. That's all.
We are done. I have run out of intelligent things. Well, I've run out of things to say.
We'll just leave it at that. And no matter how poorly you've prepped for your podcast, thanks for riding along with us.
Thanks, guys.
Tired of going down, tired of myself, tired of this town.